it's not just about me. The secret to legalization is women and moms. I want you guys up here with me. Tanya, can you come up here? Can you come down here? How can we get you up here? It's not just me. And now, what I want you to do while the women are coming up here, I want you to do something else really special, because what we're looking at is our community. These are our brothers and our sisters, and you know what? We are all in this war together. So I want you to turn around. I want you to say hi to the person next to you. I want you to introduce yourself. I want you to get to know each other, just like in church. Remember when we said this? Come on, now shake some hands. Introduce yourself. All walks of life. I've accepted a little bit of friendship here. Come on. We're all in this together. Unity in the community, amongst each other, and that's why these women standing here with me are all part of the secret. You talk to all the top political strategists, and I've talked to people who advise Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi, and they will tell you, women and moms are the secret to legalization, and it is these women that help put this event together to take care of you and your rights. And we take our hits, we take our shots, so I want to stand here loud and proud and tell you a little bit about my story and how I came here. Has anyone seen any of the media that we've done? Do you know my story? By a show of applause, just so I know that you're here and you're listening. Have you guys seen the media that we've done? Let me start off by saying my name is Cheryl Shuman, and I am a proud and loud cannabis consumer, born and raised on a tobacco farm of all things, just outside of one of the poorest counties in this nation, Scioto County, and I grew up twin crate collar without running water or electricity until I was 14 years old, and I am proud of those humble beginnings. And you know what? I remember working on those tobacco farms, and my stepdad would allow me to keep the scraps so we could go down to Maysville, Kentucky to the tobacco outlets, and I got to keep the revenue from those scraps to put my way through private school. And one of the things that I learned very early when I had my first day at private school was the difference between the haves and the have-nots. And I only had enough money through a year of out there, stripping tobacco, pegging tobacco, planting tobacco, curing tobacco, hanging tobacco, suckering tobacco. And I know how to grow things, which has actually come to help me later in my years. I do grow some fine cannabis, but that's later in the story. But one of the things I learned on my very first day at school, and I was so proud of myself because, you know what, I was brought up to value human qualities, not money, but things like hard work, integrity, ethics, being good, and loving our neighbor. And I remember my first day at school, none of those rich kids wanted to sit with me. I couldn't understand why, and when I actually had the gall to ask them, why don't you guys want to sit with me? And the girl looked over at me, the mean girls. There are the mean girls. I said, well, because you're poor. And I was dumbfounded because, it was actually the very first time I had heard the word poor. But I didn't know enough to go and look it up in the dictionary, and I remembered that so vividly because I was so scared and lonely, and I was the new girl in school. So I went to Sister Detna, and I asked her, I said, where's the dictionary? I look it up, and it says poor, one who lacks material possessions. That's not so bad, And then I realized, but I started really realizing the differences between the rich and the poor. And even though I only had enough money to afford one uniform, I washed that uniform every day, and I got suited up and showed up for school, and I got an education, and I was able to build a life for myself. So never underestimate that some hard work and determination literally can make the American dream come true, because I'm telling you, the American dream is still possible, and right now, don't underestimate, you are witnessing the birth of a brand new industry. Cannabis will be a $47 billion industry by 2016, whether the prohibitionists like it or not. The genie is out of the bottle. I work in the media. That is what I'm skilled at. I started working in the media when I was 17 years old. Because I was poor, this was back in 1977. I'm 53 years old today. No, not today, but right at this moment I'm 53. I'll be 54 in March. But I started my career at age 17, and I was known as America's Coupon Queen. I started actually on the Bob Braun show here at WLWT. And what had happened, I had started this couponing and refunding system when I was in high school, and as a cheerleader, because even though these mean girls didn't like me at first, I'm one of those people that's like, I will make you like me. You may not like me now, but I will make you like me, because I'm going to kill you with kindness and niceness, and then you're going to say, oh my God, you're so nice. I didn't know you were so nice. And I always tell people, and John will attest to this, I always tell people, don't tell anyone I'm nice, because I've got that bitchy image to maintain, and if people think I'm nice, they won't fear me, right? But I'm very proud to say that Bob Braun, he saw an article in the local newspaper where I had helped a little old lady with my coupons and refunds to get free groceries for that week because she couldn't afford to pay for them. And I also started teaching people how to get refund offers back. So Bob Braun invited me on the show, and live on the air, I was 17 years old. And we were talking, and it was just so cool, and I was just like, wow, yeah, you know, I was like, wow. And back in those days, we didn't have commercials like they do now. You know, Bob brought me on the show, and he's like, ladies and gentlemen, we have the coupon queen here, blah, 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 and I'm on there. I've got the biggest kiss-ass grin. It's like, wow, I'm on TV. This is pretty cool, you know? And I'm watching him, and he's got his Tyson chicken commercial, which he's doing. He's like, okay, we're going to cut to a commercial, and I'm looking at the camera. He's like, hi, we've got Tyson chicken here. And we did our own commercials back then. And so that's when, at age 17, I learned about branding. And branding is a really key component to this story. So keep in mind branding and how Johnson & Johnson and Procter & Gamble, they are famous for family brands, right? Well, let's think about the brand of cannabis consumers. Are you guys happy with what you've seen before we started our media campaign about how the media, the mainstream media, was painting us? Because I know I wasn't. Because you know what they try to do? They try to make us look like the stupid stoners or the stupid this that can't get it together, that are sunk into the couch and like, picking our nose or whatever. But you know, listen. There's people out there who are shining examples. You know, these women are great examples, amazing women, hardworking women, good hearts, kind caregivers, and loving, and they work their asses off. And then we have people who are productive members of society like Richard Branson. Look at him. He's a billionaire. We can't get more responsible and successful like that. And let's talk about couch potatoes. A little guy named by the name of Michael Phelps. You want to know Michael Phelps? He's one of the greatest athletes of all time. So, when I got sick, the very first time that I used cannabis, I was 36 years old. And for me, I was one of those people, I grew up in an alcoholic home, and it wasn't pretty going home. I used to get so involved in extracurricular activities that I was afraid to go home. When I went home, my alcoholic stepfather used to beat the you-know-what out of my mom, and it was hard. And I realized at a very early age that alcohol can make people very violent. And I used to run away, and I'd run away up in the hills where a group of hippies from the Haight-Ashbury district had come out. And I didn't know what cannabis was then, but I'll tell you one thing. I never heard an argument in that home. Everybody was happy all the time. And I thought, I don't know what their secret ingredient is, but it's so much nicer here. And so many times that group saved my life. And I will never forget it, and I will always be grateful for that. But when I tried cannabis for the first time, I was 36 years old. I was one of those choosy straights. Because of my stepfather, I was afraid of anything that would alter my level of consciousness because I didn't want to be like him. So when I was going through a divorce, a really bad divorce, and I started having post-traumatic stress disorder and daymares and nightmares about things that my stepfather did to our family. And it really messed me up. I started having flashbacks about how my stepfather would use me as target practice with his shotgun. We had a pile of liver rocks out on the farm. And to teach me the work ethic, and that's why I'm a workaholic today. My stepfather used to take me and make me take the rocks one by one and throw them over that fence. And when I didn't move fast enough to suit him, he would either shoot at me with a shotgun or he would use an electric cattle prod to shock me in the back and send me into convulsions. I was 8 years old.
So for a long time I was having these nightmares of post-traumatic stress disorder, and anyone who tells you that post-traumatic stress disorder is not real, I'm telling you it's real. I'm 53 years old and those memories are just as vivid today as they were back then. And I didn't know what was going on though. And when I went to my therapist and my doctors at age 36 and I said, hey, I really need some help because these memories are flooding and I can't control it, and all I can think of is I just want this pain to stop. And that's what's happening to a lot of our veterans and a lot of women who are domestic violence victims and living in fear. And we shouldn't have to live in that fear. So my doctors prescribed 80 milligrams of Prozac a day. They prescribed Xanax, they prescribed sleeping pills, and then another pill to wake up. And I literally, I'll tell you something, talk about mood stabilizers, my moods are stabilized all right. It was like, I went from running a multi-million-dollar company to literally suffering the side effects of literally thinking every single day about just wanting to die. So one day I went to my therapist and I said, hey, you got to help me because I want to be here for my kids, and right now all I can think about is I just want to end this because the pain is so bad. And after having all of those pharmaceuticals in my system, which the side effects are, if you listen to the pharmaceutical commercials on Wellbutrin and Prozac and all these drugs, the side